Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Angry J here, and I'm back with another NHL 94 team breakdown for the Sega Genesis version. Today I have my last team from the Patrick division, or at least the last team that played in the 1992-93 season, and that is the New York Rangers. The New York Rangers, they finished a surprising 6th place in the Patrick in 92-93 with a 34-39-11 record. This was only for 79 points, and they finished outside the playoffs by 8 points. This was kind of a surprising development because the year before, the Rangers finished first in the division, and they had all these great players: Leetch, Tikkanen, Messier, Gartner, Van Beesbrook, Richter, Lowe, Zubov, Amante, Kovalev. You just go down the roster. It's a very impressive roster, but they ran into some injuries, especially on their blue line, and this really hampered their ability to keep up in this season, 92-93, which is hence their 6th place finish. As we probably all know, after that, in the following season, the Rangers regained their form. They finished first in their division, and they went through the playoffs and won their first Stanley Cup in, I think it was about, 5 decades, almost 5 decades, ending their curse, ending their drought, and they became Stanley Cup champions. But in 1992-93, this season, they had a bit of a rough stretch. It was unfortunate, but for NHL 94 purposes, they're actually a pretty good team. They're actually they're actually the best team, I think, from the Patrick division to use, despite being the last place team. Some reasons why they might be pretty good to use. Well, first, they have a average home ice advantage. So when you take them at home, you're going to have some decent boosts while you're playing at MSG. You take them out on the road, they're going to have an average disadvantage. So they're going to be okay for the most part on the road, especially if you go to, say, Dallas, who has a low home ice advantage. The difference between those teams will be mitigated because of those home and road splits. So, as I mentioned, the Rangers are probably the best team in the Patrick to use. I consider them a Tier 3 team, and they're the only team above Tier 4 within this division. And that's kind of an interesting fact, I think, that the Rangers finished last place, best team in this game to use. Some of their better matchups would be against Dallas, Boston, Quebec, and Toronto. And you can even take the Rangers into Tier 2 and be very competitive against teams like Calgary and Winnipeg. I wouldn't really want to test them out against LA. I think LA is a bit too strong on offense. And then the rest of Tier 1, I think on offense, they're all too strong for the Rangers to keep up with on a consistent basis. So, some reasons why you want to pick the Rangers and why are they a Tier 3 team. Well, first reason is that they are a very fast team. They have guys like Esa Tikkanen and Mike Gartner with 5 speed. They have Leetch with 6 agility. Messier and Patrick, they have 4 speed. It's just a very, good skating team, and it's one of their best attributes, really, and it should be taken advantage of. Also, they have a fantastic defensive unit that complements each other very well. So Patrick and Leetch, they have great offensive skill. They're also very good on defense. Leetch is your weight bug guy. James Patrick is your CB check guy. And they just play off each other very well because no forwards or defenders, whatever team you're playing against, at least one of them will be able to play physically against every player on the ice. Also, this team from top to bottom has great passers and stick handlers. So if you want to use a puck possession game or just make some really pretty plays out there, the Rangers are just as capable as anybody else in this game at doing that. With the Rangers, they are also very able, because of their speed, because of their puck handling and passing, to just dictate the pace of the game. If the Rangers can kind of just guide the play along and do what they want, they're going to throw enough chances at net to eventually start piling up goals and frustrate the other team into making mistakes, which the Rangers will definitely take advantage of. And then also, lastly, not only on defense are they very good at playing the body, but up front, likes of Tikkanen and Messier, they are absolutely dominant CB checkers. CB checking has only been around for a few years, so before that time, the Rangers were kind of a weak defensive team, but now that CB checking is around and CB checking is heavier players are able to reverse the weight bug with a certain button combination on defense to body check lightweight players like Jeremy Roenick. So Mark Messier can body check Jeremy Roenick with a CB check. If you're unfamiliar with CB check, feel free to go watch the video that I have. I posted a couple months ago about the CB check, and you'll get all the information that you'll need there. Back to the Rangers. Some reasons why you might want to try and stay away from the Rangers. They're terrible at shooting. They just have absolutely atrocious shot accuracy. I'm talking, it's like Tier 6 type shot accuracy. Your best shot accuracy guy is a 3. And everybody else falls below that, unfortunately. Also, this is not a great team if you love to use weight buggers. If you are exclusively a weight bug check guy, where you just exploit the bug in the Genesis version of the game where lighter players can body check heavier players, New York doesn't really have a lot of options for you, so you might want to stay away from that. Their goaltending is average at best. It's not very good in manual goalie control. It's also not that hot in auto control. So if you rely on a good goalie, you stay away from the Rangers because of that too. Also, if one of your guys gets hurt or goes in the penalty box, your depth just drops off dramatically as soon as somebody else touches the ice. The top 5 guys are the top 5 guys for a reason, and everybody else after that, they can just kind of chill out on the bench for as long as possible. Also, on offense, the Rangers can be reliant on one player a bit too much if Messier and Tikkanen are mitigated on the wing. They're kind of heavier players, so if they get weight bug checked a lot, they're probably not going to help you too much on offense, and if the defense just has to focus on Mike Gartner, it might make him less effective overall. So those are the weaknesses. Let's go ahead and look at these lines now. So you're really just going to use the main 3 guys here on the forward unit. You're just going to want to switch them around a little bit. You can keep Tikkanen on the left, and then move Messier over to the right wing, allowing Gartner to slide into the middle. I think this is the most effective line. You can flip-flop Tikkanen and Messier if you really want to. I mean, they're both left-handed, so if you want one on his natural wing over the other, Tikkanen is a better slap shooter, but he's not as good of a passer, and Gartner is right-handed, so it's easier to feed Gartner's right-hand one-time shot with a player from the right wing, generally speaking. So if you want your better playmaker on the right wing, if possible, and I think Messier is the better playmaker, and Tikkanen is more of your grinder. So let's go ahead and look at Esa Tikkanen. He is a 5 agility, 5 speed. If you are unfamiliar with the attributes or the rating system in NHL 94, I have listed it in the description below. This will tell you what the ranges are, and so it'll help you figure out what I'm talking about when I say 5 agility, 5 speed. Tikkanen, 3 offensive awareness, so he's not going to be filling out the slot too often, but he will be very good on defense with 4 defensive awareness. He's going to be playing more towards his own zone than the offensive zone. But he does have the nice shot power, like I mentioned before, 4 shot power, so you can put him on his off wing, and he might sneak a few slappers by goalie, but with 2 accuracy, he might miss more than he makes. So you got to be careful with that. He's just very inaccurate shooter. At least he's a decent playmaker, 4 passing, 4 stick handling, so you put him out on the wing, he's not going to hurt you too much out there. His speed might drive the play and cause defenses fits that way. 212 pounds, 5 checking, CB monster. You have to be aware of him. If your opponent knows how to use CB checking, Tikkanen is a force. You want to try and avoid him at all costs, but he is a fantastic skater, so it's not always easy to do that. The best way to do that really is if he gets the puck, just try and knock him down. If he gets knocked down when he has the puck, this gives you a moment to just kind of skate away from him and takes him out of the play. That's really the best way to mitigate his CB checking if you're going against the Rangers. But with the Rangers, fantastic CB checker, so if you like to do that, you can definitely take advantage of him. And with this 5 agility, 5 speed, 5 checking, oh man, it's just delicious what he can do out there on defense. Mike Gartner, he is going to be your driving force on offense. He has 5 agility, 5 speed, another premium skater that will just cause defenses to go crazy because he's just going to be skating all over them. He's a right-handed shot with 4 offensive awareness, 4 defensive awareness, so it's a little too balanced, but he should still do fine filling out the one-time areas for the most part. You generally want to see a higher offensive awareness than defensive awareness for your forwards. 5 shot power, 3 accuracy. He is your best shooter by far in terms of power, in terms of accuracy. Quantity over quality, gentlemen, is the name of the game with Mike Gartner. So do not ever be afraid to just rip one with Mike Gartner as soon as you enter the zone. Obviously, the quality of shots would be nice, but if you're just looking to get a shot on that, looking for a rebound or something, just let it rip with Gartner. That simple. He has 5 passing, 5 stick handling, so if the defense ever just converges on him, he has all the skill in the world to move the puck onto somebody else. 196 pounds. He's going to be very, very good with his stick handling and his skate ratings, just sliding through defenses. He might have some issues with some weight bug type players or guys like Ray Bork within his tier. But for the most part, against Quebec, against Toronto, against Dallas, you're going to just be able to skate through most of their lineups. They might have a guy that can take physical advantage of Gartner, but for the most part, just go with Gartner and put those shots on net and hope we'll find a couple of them find the back of it. Lastly, at wing, Mark Messier is a good option. 5 agility, 4 speed. He's the slowest forward, but that 5 agility is really nice. He has 4 offensive awareness, 4 defensive awareness, so he's again got that balanced awareness. Not exactly optimal, but he's not a center, so it's not as big of a deal because he's not trying to fill out those one-time areas as much as Gartner. Messier's weakness, 3 shot power, 3 accuracy. It's just simply not good enough. He has issues getting to the net, which I'll talk about very shortly. But he is a great passer. 5 passing, 5 stick handling, so he's great out on the wing. You keep him out on the wing. You know, you maybe make a little shoulder fake or a little stop and go move, or and you let it go a pass with Messier. He can definitely find the open stick, even if it looks like it's covered. He still can definitely do it. So premium playmaker. He's definitely on the right side of the ice to try and feed Gartner more effectively. But 220 pounds, he's going to be a target out there for weight buggers. A lot of weight buggers can take him down. Anybody at 204 pounds or less can do it pretty consistently, but at least he has 5 stick handling, 5 agility, so that should help him more than some other heavier players like Dave Andrechuk, who just would be helpless in these situations. Mark Messier does at least have some rebuttal in against the weight buggers, but you want to avoid taking him into the slot because he's just not really built for that. You know, if he gets double or triple teamed, it's likely one of them is going to be able to just knock him down, unfortunately. But at 5 checking, 220 pounds, 5 agility, he's going to do a lot of knocking down on his own with CB checking. He's just another CB check force. You have Messier, you have Tikkanen each side of the ice. I mean, it's just a really good advantage to have, especially against a team like Toronto or Quebec or Boston who don't have any 5-speed players. They're going to be pretty accessible to these big boys, Messier and Tikkanen, so definitely want to keep them going on the defensive side of the ice. And that really ends it for the players you want to ice with the New York Rangers at forward position. But I guess you want to know about some other players too, especially if you don't like to CB check. If you're a weight bug type player, you might not even want to ice Messier and Tikkanen. I've seen guys just completely take them out of the lineup. So let's talk about some options very briefly, just to placate you guys. First one, Tony Amonte. Very underwhelming option, I think. 4 agility, 4 speed, nowhere near the skater that Tikkanen and Messier are. 4 offensive awareness, only a 3 shot power and 3 accuracy, so he's got the Messier shot with less skating, less passing at 3, less stick handling at 3. The only real advantage he has is he's 188 pounds. He's more of a weight bug type of guy, but not excessively so. He's just a good skater with very average skills, so nothing really to write home about there. You also have Darren Turcotte, 4 agility, 4 speed. Again, very nice ratings there, but 4 offensive awareness to go with, again, a 3 shot power, 3 accuracy, 3 passing. At least he has the 4 stick handling, 188 pounds. Can't really say he's all that exciting either. Sergei Nemchinov, another very unexciting option. 4 agility, 3 speed. Agility is nice, the speed problematic, especially when you have a guy like Gartner out there just, doing laps around everybody. Nemchinov is going to get left in the dust. He has 5 defensive awareness, so he's going to help you out on defense, but he's not much of a player, really. 3 power on the shot, 4 accuracy, 3 passing, 3 stick handling, 188 pounds, 4 checker. He might be okay as just a defensive stalwart for a weight bug type of guy, but he's not exciting at all. He doesn't really help this team flow like Messier or Tikkanen would. There's also Adam Graves, but he's even more underwhelming in the skill department. And Ed Olczyk is the most skilled of the bunch that I've mentioned now, but he's also the worst skater. 4 agility, 3 speed, only 3 awareness in each offense and defense, 4 shot power, 4 pass accuracy, 4 stick handling. I mean, those are some nice skills, but 212 pounds. He's too slow. He's not really a good CV checker. I just don't see what he really brings to the table for this team that Messier and Tikkanen already don't. So I would definitely try and stay away from him. I really think these top 3 forwards that I've listed are the best by far. So if you can learn to use these guys, you're going to get a lot more mileage out of this team than you would otherwise. And the same story kind of goes for the defense. You want to use these top 2 guys when possible. I mean, James Patrick, if you're a weight bug checking guy only, you may not like James Patrick, despite the fact that he has 4 agility, 4 speed. He's a good right-handed option. So I like to switch these guys around and put Patrick on the right, so he's on his natural side. 3 offensive awareness, 4 defensive awareness, so pretty standard stuff there. He's got the good shot, 4 shot power, but only the 1 accuracy, so you don't want to try and focus on getting him open for shooting, but if it's there, he might be able to take advantage of it because of that shot power. 4 passing, 4 stick handling, those are great ratings for a defenseman. 212 pounds, 4 checking, great CB option from the back. He just backs up Tikkanen and Messier if they're out of the play for whatever reason because they lost the puck on offense. James Patrick is perfectly capable of taking down a lot of the middleweight and weight bug type players. He's a decent skater, and if he gets the puck on his stick, he can just fire it right back up the ice to one of your dangerous forwards and just kickstart the offense. So I really like James Patrick, and I think he goes fantastic with Brian Leetch. He's got 6 agility, 3 speed. Speed's a little underwhelming. You might think Brian Leetch deserves a little bit more speed. I certainly do, but at least the 6 agility. He's going to be just fine out there. His first step is going to be lightning. He's going to be great in shadowing forwards because of this 6 agility. He's got 4 offensive awareness, 4 defensive awareness, so he might be a little bit more offensive minded than you would possibly like, but he should still be just okay on defense. He's got 4 power, 1 accuracy, a little underwhelming there, but the injury shortened season, I think he kind of got the short end of the stick on some of these ratings. 5 passing, 5 stick handling, just a fantastic option. The only thing you really need to be careful with Leetch is his pass accuracy. So 5 passing generally means you pass the puck harder than you would a lower rated player. So for in tight passes, you might want to be careful with Leetch, especially if you bring Amante off the bench or something. He just doesn't have the stick handling to really handle these passes as effectively. So try to use Brian Leetch for a little bit longer pass if you can help it, regardless of who's trying to receive it. He's just a fantastic passer. He's very accurate, so you want to try and avoid those pucks exploding off your other guys' sticks. 188 pounds. He's the weight bug component of this lineup, but not overwhelmingly so. He's just better off, using his elite skating and his poke check and just kind of guiding players out of the dangerous areas of the defensive zone. So fantastic player, fantastic combination. I really think this isn't quite as good as Boston's combination, but this is a very good combination nonetheless. Of course, injuries, penalties will happen, so you'll need to dip into this bench. First guy I would consider, Kevin Lowe. 4 agility, 3 speed, only 2 offensive awareness, but the 4 defensive awareness I think is a really nice rating to have for him. He plays very good defense. 3 shot power, 1 accuracy. You're not really going to shoot with him, so it's not too big of a deal. 3 passing and 4 stick handling, which is kind of nice, because if you're trying to get loose and just find an opening for a pass, you're not really too worried about Kevin Lowe just having the puck fly off of his stick because someone looked at him weird. He's going to be pretty good about dealing with traffic, provided someone doesn't land a clean poke check on him. 204 pounds, 4 checking. He's going to be a very good CB check option. Not quite James Patrick level, but very good. Definitely worthwhile bringing off your bench. If you're looking for a little bit more of a weight bug type guy, although this is only a very slight move in that direction, you'll want to look at Sergei Zubov. He's got 3 agility, 3 speed, 3 offensive awareness, 4 defensive awareness. He's very young in this game, so he doesn't have all his fantastic offensive attributes that he would accumulate in later versions of the NHL games, but he's still just fine here. 3 shot power, 2 accuracy, 3 passing, 3 stick handling. He's not going to hurt you anywhere. He's just very average. He's a very steady backup defenseman. 196 pounds, a little bit better of a weight bug checker, but not overwhelmingly so. Just use him like you would Brian Leetch on defense. Use his skating, use his poke check, and just hound the other team, and don't play too physical with him. The rest of this lineup, there's some CB check guys in there. None of them are impressive, so Patrick and Lowe are definitely the CB checking guys you want to utilize the most if needed. The goalie situation for New York, they're one of the few teams with a goalie controversy. John Van Beesbrook, Mike Richter, obviously very similarly rated. In this game, they happen to have the same overall rating. They have 3 agility each. They each have are left-handed, so no change there. They each have 3 on the rebound control. Richter has a 4 on the stick side, and on the stick right, they both share a 4 on the stick left. Richter again has the higher rating on the glove with a 4 compared to Van Beesbroek's 3, and then on the glove left they share a 4. But where Van Beesbroek has an advantage is he's a little bit lighter on the weight. So this is really the decision that you have at your hands. Do you want a better computer goalie? You probably want Mike Richter. He has the better save ratings. He's a little bit better to the ram tactic than Van Beesbroek, because lighter weight goalies have a harder time keeping players from ramming them into the net and allowing goals to go in that way. So Richter is better in that regard. But if you want the better manual goalie, Van Beesbroek at the lighter weight and same agility as Mike Richter is the better manual goalie, because he's just going to move around the crease much more fluidly for you, whereas Richter's going to feel a little bit choppy, to be quite frank. So if you like to use computer as your goalie and you don't want to touch it, bring Richter in off the bench, because Van Beesbroek is the default starter. If you want the manual goalie, bring in Van Beesbroek, and you'll just have to deal with a little bit less ability with his save ratings. So that takes care of the roster. Let's just review real quick before getting into this game against Dallas. With New York, you want to swarm your opponent with speed and skill. You just want to overwhelm them completely. You don't want them to feel comfortable out there. You want them to feel like there's always someone breathing down their neck. And once you get the puck, you just want to just go with them. And like I said before, quantity over quality is really the name of the game with the Rangers. Also on defense, you want to punish your opponent with CB checks. You have Tikkanen, Messier, and Patrick. They can all CB check very well. Gartner can CB check a little bit, depending on who he's going against. I mean, if it's Neil Broughton for Dallas, or Andrei Kovalenko for Quebec, or Doug Gilmour for Toronto, those are guys he can CB check, so don't be afraid to get him going on that as well. And just, this is how you're going to create turnovers. This is how you're going to scare your opponent into doing things on offense that they might not do. They might try and avoid going to the middle of the ice because of this. So this is how you set the tempo with New York when you don't have the puck. And just to emphasize this more, with the Rangers, shoot, and then shoot some more. All your guys have serious issues hitting the net consistently and hitting their target consistently. Even if they do hit the net, they might hit the opposite side of the net that you asked for. So the best way to remedy this is not just take fewer shots, but to take more. The more you take, the more they're going to hit the intended target. So please do that with the Rangers. Also, don't be afraid with the Rangers to go for the home run pass. You have fantastic passers in the back, Leetch and Patrick. If you happen to get a puck deep in your own zone with Messier or Tikkanen, they're good enough passers too. Just float the puck up to Gartner, and hopefully he goes and gets it, because he's pretty good at that. And then you might have a free breakaway just based off of one pass. So don't always feel like you have to work the puck up the ice. If you got a clear lane to make a pass, do it. Also, just protect your goalie. Depending on who you use, if you're using Richter, you're probably going to go more computer control. So just use your CB checking and cut down people when you can. If you're going to use Van Beesbroek, you're probably going to be more manual goalie control. So maybe you give up on that final back check before going over to manual goalie control. So just be aware of who you're using and why you're using them. And then lastly, with the Rangers, it's tempting because of how good they can skate and how good they can play defense, but you don't really want to take them too far up the ladder. If they start playing against teams like Detroit, Chicago, Vancouver, those teams are going to be able to just take the game to you offensively as well. So unless you're just dominating, the Rangers might not get enough chances on net in some of those matchups to mitigate how many goals that their average goaltending will give up. I mean, if New York just commits too many players to the offensive zone and allows too many odd man breaks, they don't have the defensive resources like a top end goalie or just a top end defenseman that can hit everything that moves to really mitigate these things. They just have a lot of really good pieces, but again, that shot accuracy can be problematic. So if you get into a 50-50 game with Detroit's going to make more chances than the Rangers, because Detroit's just much better shooting the puck, as well as Vancouver and Chicago and some other Tier 1 teams. So you can take them up to Tier 2, but don't get too greedy with that. And let's go ahead and jump into this matchup. two very similar teams. I think the Rangers and Dallas, very similar teams because they're both fast. They both have uh, terrible shooting accuracy, but they're also very tough teams to use at first. If you haven't put in a lot of time with these two teams are going to feel really weird and awkward and ineffective. These are more advanced teams, I think, because they take a little bit more know-how. You have to kind of know the ins and outs of the game a little bit more to get the most production with them. Because if you don't know how to CB check with the Rangers, you're going to be in tough. If you don't know how to manual goalie control with Dallas, your defense is a little suspect, and one of the main ways to combat your suspect defense with Dallas is to use manual goalie control. So these teams, they really rely on some more advanced techniques. They're just not the easy pick up and play type teams that you might hope for. Those teams tend to be Quebec and Toronto within Tier 3. I think they're a little bit more user-friendly, and especially to the average player, but I think the Rangers are a very dangerous team in a more advanced player's hands. I mean, I've seen in King of 94, the first tournament that we had in Toronto, both King Raff and KG Man were very skilled with the New York Rangers. They just knew how to use their speed. They knew how to use their stick handling and passing, and especially Mike Gartner, just to really get things going. I mean, you can see that move right there with Esa Tikkanen. That's a pretty in-tight move. It takes an elite skater to pull that off, and he has 5 agility and 5 speed. So he's one of the guys that can pull off these really quick moves to the short side and pick off an unsuspecting goalie. I mean, despite the fact that he only has 2 shot accuracy, it's these type of things. If you know how to make them work, if you know how to utilize them like those two did in the first King of 94 tournament, you can get a lot of production out of this team, because most guys, you get them on a short side post deke like that, it doesn't matter what their shot accuracy is. If they can just deke the goalie, out of their mind, they're going to make that pretty easily. I think I got 4 or 5 goals already just like that, because these guys, they're such good skaters that it can mitigate their lack of shooting skill from in close. If you just try and blast one-timers with these guys all game, you're going to have some disappointment for sure, especially Messier and Tikkanen. Probably even more so Messier, because his shot power is just really poor. So just knowing these little things with the Rangers, you don't want to just line up slappers with Messier. He's going to get knocked off the puck a lot. He doesn't have the shot power to really do it consistently, especially against some better goalies like Felix Potvin or some other guys that you might run into. He's not going to be very consistent. So use those short side dekes. It kind of limits how much exposure they have going into the slot, like I said, because they're very weight bug accessible. Weight bug checking accessible, I mean. So a team like Dallas, they have a bunch of weight bug checkers. They have Madonna, Courtnall, Broughton, Stodine. These guys can all pretty easily check Mark Messier and Esa Tikkanen. So if you can limit how much you take them into the slot and just use these little dekes to stay on the outside as much as possible, but also be dangerous and drive to the net, then I think you'll have yourself a really nice advantage, and you'll find a lot of success with that type of strategy. And let's see if I can here's Leetch. So he's not the fastest, but 6 agility, he can dangle too. If he gets into a situation like that, he can definitely deke a goalie, and it could throw some people's timing off when they try and take manual goalie, because they're thinking, usually you're going up against Mark Messier or Esa Tikkanen, so you got to be quick with the thumbs, going from post to post. But with a guy like Leetch, he can be a little bit more patient. So taking it in with Leetch in that situation might not be a negative, because you get him in close, he can really dangle, and beating manual goalie a lot of the time is just throwing off a guy's timing. It's not necessarily always knowing which move to use, or having all these just crazy sick moves. It's a lot of it's just busting up timing. So if you can bust up timing by having a guy with significantly different speed rating going in, It can really throw a guy's rhythm off pretty quickly. So that's kind of one nice thing about this team is that yes, they do have some really fast players, but they also have some slower players who are also very highly skilled. And I just New York, they were kind of like Washington for me. For a long time, I just did not like using them at all. I just didn't get it. I didn't like the lack of shot accuracy because I was trying to one-time too much with them. I didn't like their average defense because their goaltending isn't very good. And before the CB check was a thing, because it's only been around for a couple of years, they were very poor on defense just in general. So it seemed like I was losing the puck a lot. I didn't have a real great way of getting it back. And I didn't have a very good goalie. They didn't have accurate shooters. The reasons really piled up for me in terms of why I didn't like the Rangers. But they were one of those teams that I also put a lot of time into because for King of 94 too, because I did see a lot of guys in King of 94 Tournament 1 where they were using the Rangers at the highest level. So it only made sense to me just to try and figure out how to use them. And now I feel much more comfortable with them. I don't think they're my favorite team. Certainly not, but they have a lot of guys with high-end skills. You talked about it. Messier, he has elite passing, elite stick handling. Same with Gartner. Leetch, same thing. And the other guys, Tikkanen and Patrick, they're just very competent. They have 4 ratings in those departments, so they're just fantastic for puck possession. I like to possess the puck and pass it around. So I feel like this team is actually really right up my alley the more I think about it. And see, there's that 6 agility. Again, just really sharp angle. And they're just capable of really giving a good shoulder fake. These Ranger players are. And sneaking it in short side like that. They're also good at these floaters. It's just, if you like to be creative on offense from in tight and you know how to get there and just take advantage of goalies, this team has all sorts of potential. You could definitely take them up into Tier 2 against Calgary and Winnipeg. Some teams that aren't terribly good on defense. And I don't think they're immune to what the Rangers do out there because the Rangers can just CB check them into next week. And the goalies for those, there's that 3 accuracy. I was talking about quality over quantity with Gartner. He'll even miss some of those or quantity over quality. Gartner will miss some of those easy ones, but he'll also make some shots from way downtown like that, where you just kind of go, okay, I guess that's part of the deal with Gartner. You get the good with the bad. And he's only got 1 goal, surprisingly enough, in this game. I guess I just haven't really been using him. But let's see if I can get a few more. He feels a little slow, to be honest. I think he might be suffering a little bit. Might have had a bit of a scare with the mustache. He's playing cautious. Someone tried to play a prank on him and shave it off. But let's see if we can get him a hat trick at least, because he is their best player. He's their most effective and consistent offensive weapon by far. So, nope, he's not open. Still not open. I tried to force that. Okay, here we go. Gartner. Just dangle bud. Oh, alright, guess he's not going to get a hat trick if he takes a penalty. I got the goalie screen there at the blue line. Alright, so unfortunately, Mike Gartner, bit of a lackluster game, but the rest of his team picked him up. I think it just goes to show that this team does have some serious depth. If people don't respect those dekes and shut down those lanes to the net, that the Rangers can really hurt people, score a lot of goals, and then they got plenty of defense to back it up and protect that lead late in the game. So they might have been the 6th place team in the 1992-93 season in the Patrick Division, but they're the best team in the Patrick Division in terms of NHL 94 purposes, and hopefully you now understand why that is and feel more comfortable taking them into a game moving into the future. So I know a lot of people were asking for the Rangers, so there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Feel free to comment, or if you have a question, just throw it into the comments. Thumbs up, subscribe, whatever you guys are inclined to do. I really appreciate you guys watching and commenting, the ones that I already have. So definitely gonna have more videos like this coming up. Have the Florida Panthers coming up next, and then the entire Western Conference after that. So until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye.